Hey, my name's Travis Bull Johnson. I'm running for Congress against Michelle Fischbach.
There's no money in ending war. There's no money in limiting government. To me, part of what makes America great are our small businesses, our small farms, and that's what's getting squeezed out by the establishment politicians.
That's why I say, raise cattle and not taxes. Hey, my name's Travis Bull Johnson.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Just trying to get this going on and doing it on my own without having our producer. I didn't really want to get into the situation where we were having to get back and forth over to his place during the middle of the winter. And I'm going to wait just a few minutes here till people start to log on. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody loves me this morning. I don't have anybody logged on yet. So, but the show must go on. First thing I want to talk about a little bit is our election. I mean, if you've been paying attention to our page and so forth, I mean, you've been seeing a little bit of what's going on with my response to the election. We didn't do nearly as well as I thought we should. I feel we did a lot of things right. We did great in the debate. We got out there. We were pushing our name as much as we could to the media, but we didn't get the traction. In my mind, our floor was 7 or 8%, and we only did 5.5%, which was kind of disappointing. I mean, until we started looking at how other third parties did across the country. I mean, once we look at what other third parties did around the country, when you had a race that involved both a Republican and a Democrat, there was only one third party candidate who did better than us between the House, the Senate, and all the governor's races. And that was a young lady from Utah, I believe, with the Utah Unification Party. Other than that, we did better than any third party candidate across the country. To the factor of I believe we doubled most of them. I mean, most libertarian candidates got somewhere in that 1% to 2% range, and we did 5.4, which is great when comparing. But when you're going to win, it's kind of disappointing. It's kind of depressing. But hey, it was what it was. I think we still showed people we ran a real good campaign. A lot out there to be proud of, but when you're shooting for the win, it kind of lets you down. So a lot of the last week or so, week and a half, we've been sitting back here trying to figure out where do we go from here. We want to keep our message out in front of people. We want to keep talking about the issues, and we still want to make a impact for the good. So one thing we have decided to do, we decided to keep our campaign page on Facebook running and going forward. We temporarily renamed it Homestead and Politics. Give you an idea of what it will involve. To the most popular aspects of that page is when we talk politics, as well as everybody seems to like the farm pictures. So we're gonna keep that going. A lot of people have come up to me and said, and messaged me and so forth, said, hey, you know what, your voice is important. You need to stay involved in politics. You need to run again for something, and you need to stay out there. And originally, when we ran for this, it was a mentality of one and done. Okay, we really wanted to say, I mean, after this, we were going to be done. I mean, honestly, for me to do another race is financially impossible for me at this time. We poured so much of our own money into this other race. We just want to, the old saying is you can't get blood out of a turnip. Well, there is no more blood to be gotten out of that turnip as far as self-funding another race. So if we are to win, or we were to win another race, we would have to ensure that we have financial backing We have a strong financials to lean back on. The other thing to run again is we would have to make sure we had a full team in place. That this last election we started off without a campaign manager. We later added one, and I did all the treasurer stuff myself, as well as tried to run media myself. Well, that didn't work very well. I mean, that's one of those areas we definitely could improve on. So if we were to run again, we would need to have a team in place by the time we actually announced. The third question is, if we were to run, how would we run? I see there being four different options on how we would run and which office we would run. Let's go ahead and address which office we would run if we were to run again. A lot of that's going to go is, what do we hope to accomplish? Are we running to win, or is there something else that we're trying to accomplish in that run? Whether it's getting a message out, whether it's getting ballot access, what else? What is our lower than winning outright win level? So I look at the four options we would have. Well, first, I'm not really interested in running in a state race. Reason for that is a couple things. One, I think we would have a good chance of winning it outright if we went for state house, because rumor has it that our current representative may not be running again, which will leave a void in this area. It does have a decent mix of Republican and Democrat. But again, that would be a all or nothing type situation. We either win it or we're out. We're done. So I just don't have that burning desire in my house, in my soul right now to just be a low level member of the state. I mean, if I'm a gambler, okay, I like the long odds. Let's go for long odds, high reward. That just kind of fits my my whole mentality. So the only other option in 2024 is state senate. Now, in state senate, you have Amy Klobuchar, who is the incumbent, and she's strong. I mean, she's well liked across the state. She normally gets in the 60 to 70% numbers as far as running. But I see a lot of similarities into that race compared to the ones we just ran. It's just from a different. It's just flipped. In the dynamics for the one we just ran, we ran against a very heavily favored Republican, where the Democrats really didn't feel there was much effort to be put into the U.S. Senate, or excuse me, to the House, because Fischbach was such a heavy favorite. Well, we've got that opposite dynamic in the Senate, where Klobuchar is such a heavy favorite. It's hard to say how much the Republicans are willing to put into that race. What that does, that gives breathing rooms to third parties. So I mean, it does give an option there. So we decided if we are going to run, the most likely thing we would run for is U.S. Senate. Also because it gives multiple win possibilities. One, it's on a much bigger stage, so we have a lot more options to be able to get our word out, to get our message out. We've seen that with Chase Oliver in Georgia. Every time anybody talked to Chase, it was all about, it involves ranked choice voting. That was one of his big messages he wanted to put out. And even after the election, when he got all this attention, because his involvement basically pushed the race into a runoff in Georgia. Again, every time they speak to him, he talks about ranked choice voting. So when you have that bigger stage and that bigger environment, it does give you the chance to be able to really push your message out there. The other thing with the Senate run is that it is a statewide office. In a statewide office in Minnesota, if a candidate for a party gets 1% of the vote, they are considered a minor party in Minnesota. If they get 5%, they're considered a major party. Now, why are these numbers important? If you're considered a minor party in Minnesota, you are eligible to get some money back from the states where people could contribute to the party while get their money up to $50 back a year from the state. Meaning, in an election cycle, somebody can give $100 to the party and not lose anything because they're going to get all this money back from the state. As a libertarian, do I like the program? Not necessarily. However, it's in place. The other parties use it. You handicap yourself by not using it. And of course, if you do hit that magical 5% number, you're a major party. What a major party means in Minnesota is you have ballot access for every race in the state. You don't have to do any petitioning. So that leads me to my next point of how do we run. I've actually been approached by members of the GOP to consider running as a member of the GOP for Senate. And we are keeping that option open because if anything the last election showed me is if you want to win, it's real hard to do with a third party if there's a Republican and a Democrat involved in the race. Because I said we did everything right, I believe, and we still topped off in that 5 or 6% range. That's one option. The second option, run as a libertarian. If I ran as a libertarian, honestly, a lot of the focus wouldn't be as much about winning as it would be about getting ballot access to get that 5 points, get that 5%. That's going to be hard in its own right because Legal Marijuana Now, the party I ran in this last election, did not get 5, even though we got 5% in our House race. That's not a statewide race. They failed to get 5% in any other race, meaning 2024 Senate is going to be their last option to get 5% to maintain themselves as a major party, which means it won't be like this last race where we only have 3 parties, me, the Democrats, and the Republicans. You're almost definitely going to have a Legal Marijuana Now candidate running in that race. It also means that if I don't get my signatures needed to get into the race, there's no other back door for me to slide into because Legalized Cannabis Party missed their number this election as well, and they will no longer be considered a major party. And by that time, Legal Marijuana Now party will have their own person slotted to run in that race. So if we go as libertarian, it definitely puts the pressure on to get our signatures. With being a presidential year, I do have some fear whether the party will be putting all their focus on the presidential candidate rather than another candidate running for statewide office who has a better chance of getting the 5%. The other concern with running as a libertarian is you look at the track record. I mean, typically libertarians have fared worse than the other third or fourth parties in Minnesota. Although we are the third biggest party in the nation, we have typically fallen behind legal cannabis or Legal Marijuana Now and grassroots cannabis in results. Why is that? I mean, it's really a question I have to answer before I'm willing to do that. Is it because of in 50 years we haven't really had a real good performance and they just don't take the party seriously? Is it because of the rigmarole going through it? Is it about they can't take a party seriously that has a serious anarchist bent? And I believe that might be one of the cases. I mean, there's so much as a libertarian who believes in we need government, but we need to keep it as small as possible. There's kind of a conflict there between that and the voice of the Libertarian Party right now, who is more if you believe in any kind of government, you're a statist. And you know what, I'm a proud American, and I've asked myself this time and time again: is there room for a proud American within the Libertarian Party? And right now, I'm not sure there is. With the strong anarchist influence, I don't believe we should have any government. The fact that I do believe we do need a small government leads to question whether that's going to be my best option. I'm having a crisis of faith when it comes to the Libertarian Party, I guess you could say. But that does remain an option. And honestly, right now, it probably remains the strongest of the options because there is that possibility of gaining that 5% to help people across the state and ensure that we do have a third option on the ballots. Third option, run as an independent. Independent has a very, very big upside when you look at independents across the nation in federal and Senate and governor races. They far outpaced third parties as far as their success was concerned. The thing is, as an independent, I mean, if you run as an independent, your goal is to win. That's it. And again, with the strength of Amy Klobuchar, I'm not sure I want to limit myself to only one possibility of winning, because I do feel she is a strong candidate. The fourth option is the long shot option. It is the start your own party option. And honestly, it is under consideration to start our own party. There are so many people right now in Minnesota who are not happy with the status quo. They are not happy with the Republican Party. Problem is, they don't really have anywhere to go. They don't really feel comfortable in going to the Libertarian Party because they're a lot like me in the fact that they believe you do need a small government, and they just don't know if that's where the focus of the Libertarian Party is. So they're kind of orphans. They're kind of stuck where they're at. And the state GOP does not have to change because they know there is no place for these people to go. They can keep their establishment. They can still keep alienating the grassroots movement as much as possible, knowing there's nowhere else for them to go. They're not going to go as a Democrat. So when it comes to voting, they may not be involved in the party, but they are still going to vote Republican because, again, there is no good option for them. So we are in the talks about the possibility of starting a constitutional republic party, constitutional Republicans, or RepCon, which basically, as its founding principle would be, we believe in a government, but we also believe that government should be as small as possible and intrude on the lives of the American people as little as possible. But, there is a lot of ground to be laid as far as if you wanted to go that route, because, again, you're not even recognized as a political party in Minnesota as really until you get 1%. I mean, they will put whatever you want them to put on the ballot. If you want to say, this is my party, they will by far put it. But again, as far as any matching contributions or any recognition from the state, you don't get it until you get that at least 1% on a statewide race. The other downside for this is you're starting from scratch. I mean, you're being pulled in two different directions. One, you're trying to run for office. Two, you're also trying to organize a political party, which in itself could be a full-time job. And if we did go that route, we would really want to have other candidates besides myself running in local races so we can help contribute to each other. All three of these options, these last three options, either as a libertarian, as an independent, or as a third party, means really you have to, we're going to have to get 2,000 signatures. That's daunting because, again, last election, we didn't even get our 1,000 we needed. Okay. Now, yes, we are going to be a little bit better focused, but again, if we go any of those three options, we really need to ensure that we have the infrastructure in place to get on the ballot. Otherwise, you just completely wasted your time. So that's a couple of things that we're looking at right now. I'm going to go real quick to look at our comments and try to answer any questions I have. If you do have any questions or comments, please type them in there, and I'll answer them. I mean, as the old saying goes, ask me anything, I'll give you a true answer. That's what I've said for the last 2 years on the campaign trail. Nothing's changed. Libertarian lady, yeah, by all means, the mainstream media and duopoly did work very hard to suppress and make any other party less viable. I mean, we did good. We were out there a year and a half campaigning. I mean, our name was getting relatively well known. We were building a strong social media following. And a lot of times when local newspapers did their editorials, we weren't even mentioned until we kicked and screamed and say, "Hey, look at us." So yeah, they definitely do avoid us. Now, will the founding of a official third party generate enough interest to help offset that? I don't know. But as we also said, I mean, they pretty much avoid the third parties until after we make a name, like Chase did in Georgia. I mean, to a certain extent, he's the Libertarian Party golden boy right now, but at the end of the day, he got 2% of the vote. But those were an important 2%. What are my chances are running against Amy? Angie, yeah, I mean, Amy's going to be tough. Okay, that doesn't mean anybody's unbeatable. If you start really looking at Amy's main weaknesses, is how she raises her funds. I mean, they will charge 20. I made a video of this last year where they were charging $25,000 to be on a committee that met with Amy on a regular basis to help influence her policies. $25,000 for a seat at the table to be able to have direct influence from her. And they broadcasted it. This was something that they didn't hide. This was out there in the world to see. Okay, so this is everything that's wrong with politics. So yeah, I mean, she does have some weaknesses. But at the same time, I mean, she does have a very high favorability rating. But how much that favorability rating is because people don't realize that's the kind of things her campaign is doing to raise money. There's also the possibility of 2024, Joe Biden's running. Is the only reason he's in office is Amy basically bowed out 2020 and endorsed him early in the process and gave him that bump he needed to get ahead of other candidates. Is there a possibility there's a cabinet position waiting for her? Is there a possibility that they eject Kamala and bring her on board? Because Kamala hasn't really added anything to the ticket. So we also are running with the idea of that may be a long-term possibility. Yeah, Pat, I know raise cattle, not taxes. That's part of our brand. That's going to be around no matter what we do. All right, Libertarian lady, or help some people in your area on city council seats. Let's start in the backyard and work out. The problem with that, and it's also why Libertarians have so much success on those small races, is they're not nonpartisan. People go to the ballot not realizing they're Libertarians. I mean, and that's where I posted on Facebook yesterday is we have to come up to and look at this and determine, is that L on the ballot helpful or harmful? And I believe it's a fair question to ask, and it's really a question that the Libertarian National needs to be involved, needs to be asking. They need to do a poll. Let's find out, is there a negative concept to that L on the ballot? Is that something that we need to look at a name change because people have in their mind Libertarian is liberal or Libertarian is bad? I mean, but that's one of the reasons why we have so much of those luck on those small races that has not up to now contributed into the higher statewide races. I think we have one state representative, Libertarians have one statewide representative across the country. Why is that? I mean, we've been playing the small game for a few years now. That should have already started to work its way up. But if we look at our results from even state races, that hasn't. That has not shown itself to lead to higher numbers and higher level races. So I'm not sure really that's going to be that is definitely where Libertarians can make the most impact on that local level. I just don't know if that will contribute to a higher level. Pat, yeah, US Senate is one of the ones we're seriously considering running on. We do have the possibility we also may decide to rerun against Michelle. We're going to see. There's a lot of things going on in the Republican Party right now, which will have influence on what's going on, including their upcoming chair election. I'm interested to see how that turns out because we are definitely hated by Mr. Hahn. Hey, Tub, yeah, perhaps it is time to find another route, new partnerships. And as an independent, you technically have no foundation. You are, again, as the name says, independent. And you're right. I mean, as you said, Tub, it is very hard right now to find somebody who supports a minimal government. I mean, everybody wants all or nothing, and it makes it hard. And I agree, Jerry. It's focus on one, and a lot of this is going to be if we do decide to go a route of a new party, do we have a partner in there who's willing to take the reins of getting that new party up and going with us basically being the face of that party? Let me see. Yeah, there's a lot of comments on this. So I'm having to go through it. I agree. We need to take, Jerry, again, we need to take this experience and use it to move forward with others. Problem is, I mean, a lot of times people don't want to hear what we have to say. And I'm guilty of that as my well. Okay. I spent an hour with a political operative on the phone the other night with him giving me an hour's worth of reasons why I shouldn't run as a libertarian. And this is a liberty-based guy who is not a Republican operative. And he say, I got 20 years of experience on this. And at the same time, I kept up the mentality of, you know what? Yeah, you have 20 years of experience, but I know better. And I think that's kind of some of those things we have to look at and address as well. Is we got to learn to learn off other people's experiences, which is why I am questioning some of the things I'm questioning now. Yeah, and no, I understand. You ran for lieutenant governor, Jerry, and for Tubb, and you didn't. The local news didn't care. We ran into the same thing. Okay, I mean, our local major paper is half an hour to 45 minutes away, and when they ran their editorial for who they were going to support, or in their case, not support at all, they gave the whole laundry list of why they couldn't support Fishbach. They basically said for the Democrat, this is why we can't support her. She hasn't really done anything. Therefore, we can't support anybody. We didn't even exist to them. And that was frustrating. I mean, it's hard to get a foothold when earned media won't let you earn your coverage. Yeah, Libertarian Lady, maybe we do need to kick and scream louder. I think but the problem is, I think the other half of that party is so used to kicking and screaming and getting their way that I don't know if they. I think the only way that's going to change is if it's forced to change. And I don't think kicking and screaming louder is going to make that big of a difference. You know what, Pat? I mean, maybe Minnesota is sick of Amy. I don't know. I know the greater Minnesota area is, but I don't have a good enough pulse reading of what's going on in the cities to know what their feelings are there. And that is super important for any decision we make, is going to involve a lot of time in the cities, because the GOP has proven they can't win a state race. But a reason they cannot win a state race is they spend all their time preaching to the choir in greater Minnesota and not enough time in the cities telling people why they are the better option over the Democrats. The GOP has this mentality that in the cities, they just want handouts. And that's not the case. I mean, they want better lives for them and their kids. And the Republican Party has not went out there and shown them why they could provide that better than the Democrats. So you know what? When you don't have a better option to get out, yes, then you do look at who's going to give you the handout. But you know what? People have pride. That is very seldom their first option. It is more of an option when they feel that that's where they're forced to be. So I definitely think there is a possibility, but it's going to revolve a lot of time in the inner city, explaining to these people why we're the better option and showing them why any other option other than the Democrats is a better option. I mean, let's look at the case of Somalis. I mean, realistically, they do not get that much government support. They are socially conservative. There is no reason in the world they should be voting Democrat, but they do, because the Democrats are the only ones who go out there and ask for their vote. So, I mean, those are the things that needs to be addressed if anybody does want to get into the inroads of the Democratic Party on the state level. And it's something the Republican Party has shown time and time again that they're not willing to do it. I mean, I like Scott, I like Dr. Jensen, but again, the fact remains that 2 or 3 weeks going into the election, he was flying around greater Minnesota, hitting all of the towns in greater Minnesota where he already had their support. Instead of going to areas where he didn't have the support, trying to build that support up. And I'm convinced that's why he lost the race by as much as he did. I mean, you cannot win the race without getting a respectable showing in the cities. And until the GOP or whoever's running against the Democrats decide that's going to be a priority, they're not going to compete with the Democrats on a state level. Hey, good morning, Ellie. Good to see you, ma'am. You're absolutely right, Angie. It's time to heal Minnesota. And how do we go about doing that? I mean, to me, one of the shockers of this year's election was that Mort lost. I mean, he lost his election against Tabke. But if you look at Mort's campaign, it was attack, name call. Okay. There was a little bit of showing what he did. But again, his focus was on attacking and name calling. You know what? I mean, I attacked Fischbach on a regular basis, but there was no name calling. It was attacking on her principles, on her policies, her actions. I think she's a good person, but I think there's some issues on the ethical or moral compass when it comes to what she allows in her campaigns. But I mean, that's not name calling. That's pointing out differences in policies and actions and saying, hey, we're different than that. Excuse me. So I think we do have to get out of that attack mindset. And I'm guilty of it as much as anybody else. I mean, when it comes to Tim Walz, just his actions as a senior NCO are just so against what I stand for. It's hard for me not to attack on that. It's hard for me not to be upset with that because, again, it goes against my whole moral fiber of what a non-commissioned officer in the military should be. And the fact that he ran on being that retired sergeant major when he failed to fulfill the responsibilities of that role just set very wrong with me. I agree, Pat. It's time to unite Minnesota, and that really begs the question on, is either major political party up to the task, or are they too busy fighting each other that any member of either party is never going to be the one to heal the state? Which again leads to the question: do we lean towards independent? Do we lean towards established third party, or do we start a new minor party? But I don't know that either of the major parties is up to the task of being the one to heal Minnesota when they're too busy being the ones to wound her. I'm impressed. We're getting a lot of feedback in the comments today. There's days where I come out here and there's nothing. Yeah, I know Ellie. For those of you who don't know, Ellie is the chair of the new Progressive Party out in, I believe it's North. I'm not sure if it's North or South Dakota off the top of my head. Maybe Ellie can answer that question. And when I look at what they stand for, I mean, there are always those coalitions. There are a lot of things that we can work together on. I mean, one of my big issues is getting rid of corporate welfare. Stop treating a corporation as they're a person, because they're not. And that is something that us in the Progressive Party and you know, even the socialists all agree on. And that is something where you can build those bridges on those topics, build those coalitions saying, hey, how important is this to me? If this is the most important, you know what, let's fix this one problem. And that's very much something that we have tried to do as far as our coalition building. And you know what, Tom, that's my whole point with the Libertarian Party. 50 years as a party, we should be further along than we are, and has the eccentricities of some of our leaders in the past got to where it's too much to overcome. I mean, I do think those are questions that libertarians need to be asking. Okay, is have we built too high of a mountain for us to overcome in our current form? And hopefully we'll get more answers to that over the next couple of years. Yeah, I know, Pat, you're going to be in that Minnesota State Conference in St. Cloud. I expect a play-by-play. When exactly is that conference? I agree, Ellie. Calling somebody out on the truth is not an attack. It's accountability. And I think that's something that we fail. All right. I'm sorry, Ellie. The Progressive Party is nationwide. I'm sorry to offend on that. Okay. Yeah. You're based in South Dakota. That's more kind of where I was thinking. And it looks like that's a majority of our comments. Any other last minute comments or questions before we sign off? At 36, 37 minutes, we are already well into probably one of our longest podcasts. We are going to attempt to have these podcasts now that the campaign is over on a regular basis. I hope you get a little bit better using that StreamYard software, so it's a little bit better running, and I'm gonna play with it a little bit over the next week between now and next week. But I felt everybody deserved a chance to hear me say from my own lips what I thought was going on, what I thought we might be going to do, and give everybody the chance to ask some questions. All right, Pat, say December 3rd. That's only a couple of weeks away. But meanwhile, no decisions have been made. We are going to have to make a decision somewhat soon in the next month or so. Do we keep our options open for Senate? Because at the end of November, I'm going to have to start closing out our committee with the FEC for running for Congress. That committee can be rolled over into a new committee for Senate, which honestly is a route I'm liable to likely to go, because then the loans to the committee will roll over instead of having to be written off, which means we can now use that to help fund our follow-on campaign instead of having to use that loss. But so, yeah, we are going to have to decide whether at least we keep those options open, even if we don't decide for sure what we're going to do. A hard, firm commitment for that is not going to have to be made until May of next year, or year after next. We've got 17, 18 months before we have to actually make a firm commitment, because there is no firm commitment or locked in commitment until you drop your paperwork with the Secretary of State the last week of May of the year of the election. So we have till May 2024 to kind of decide on a path to go forward, if we decide to go that path. Again, right now, it's gonna take some soul searching to figure out exactly what we can realistically accomplish. One of the reasons I still consider this is the fact that we got 5.4% in a U.S. congressional race. 5%, 5.4%. That is 0.4 more than needed to give a party major party status, if we can take those same numbers and scale them up to the U.S. Senate level. And I have no reason to see why we can't, because part of our platform does match very well with legal marijuana now, and they have consistently gotten numbers in the 3, 4, 5% through the cities. So I do feel that is an attainable goal. Their biggest issue is they don't do necessarily as well out here in greater Minnesota, which is where our base is. And the other thing I look at is our Facebook following. That's where we put a lot of our time and effort into. But at the end of the day, after the election, that Facebook following grew. It didn't shrink. I expected a lot of people to go, okay, the election's over, drop sling load and go look for something else to keep their attention. And no, they didn't. They maintained their engagement with the page. we're back up to hundreds of likes when we post. We had that week before the election, we were throttled so bad we were in the teens for a lot of posts. I think the most popular post we've made lately has been the picture of that damn goat. But Bella's becoming pretty popular. I want to say she had 220 or 230 likes. But how that Facebook page goes is also going to have a lot to do with our decisions. I mean, does our popularity continue to grow every month? Do we continue to bring in new people? Because, again, that is such a valuable resource. But I'm looking at our viewers, and they're steadily dropping. So I think it's time to call this a day. I want to thank everybody for who showed up today, and you know what? I mean, let's stick with it. The last point I want to make is we missed a golden opportunity, Western Minnesota. Look how close that battle for power in the House is going to be. That one independent voice could have been holding most of, if not all, the cards to get in an outside Speaker of the House, somebody without ties to either party to come and run the House like it should be run. We missed out on that opportunity. I mean, and that hurts, okay? The fact that we could have demonstrated our name. So everybody have a great day. And remember, independent is power. Thank you very much.